We're back with Thompson to Clark on a Wednesday. We don't do too many Wednesday shows, but
No, not often.
Monday, we kind of came to the conclusion that nothing is really happening. Let's kind of wait and see. Maybe something will happen. And then we'll record later in the week. And lo and behold, the Giants that night signed Jorge Soler to be their right-handed DH against lefties and against righties. Sometimes I'm very interested how they're going to use him, because he's like, they have Wilmer for a lot of this stuff.
JD Davis.
And JD Davis. And it looks like you can, against lefties, maybe you play Wilmer at first and you sit Lamont down. And then you have Wilmer and Soler in the lineup at the same time. But then you become team Slow-Lair, because, man, both of those guys are not fleet of foot. But yeah, no, they have a lot of options, more options, I guess, now than they did before they signed him. But this was kind of on our radar. We talked a little bit about him. JD Martinez is still out there unsigned, that, sort of similar in that way. And the Giants did pull the trigger, and there's still guys out there that we've been talking about all offseason. Matt Chapman, Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery, all those guys are still out there, and in some times have been tied to the Giants. I think Chapman is still tied to the Giants, mostly him and the Giants and the Blue Jays. So Soler is a Giant, so they go into spring training with a little bit of pop that they didn't have before. So were you happy with this deal?
I'm very happy. I know, there's that section of Twitter that's frustrated with it and all that good stuff. But if you take a look at, you throw in Jung-Hoo Lee, you throw in Jorge Soler, you throw in the fact that Logan Webb is now basically the old guy, the captain of this team, who's kind of stepping up. You throw all those factors in. Let's not forget Hicks too. Throws like 105. The excitement level has gone up like 200% on this team from last year. You can go to Baseball Savant and just kind of get lost in there, which I really enjoyed to do, because we're nerds. We love numbers. That's kind of why we got into baseball in the first place.
Yeah.
Not just the beauty of the game and, hitting home runs and, sweet plays at shortstop and all of that. We're numbers guys. You and I grew up looking at the history of baseball, and all of these numbers were just, you can spit out a historic number. Like when I say 660, I guarantee you probably already think of Willie Mays' career home runs. These are numbers that are tied. So go to Baseball Savant and kind of poking around, and you look, and Jorge Soler was number 15 in the majors last year in barrels per plate appearance percentage at 9.5. The guys ahead of him were Luis Robert Jr., Adolis Garcia, Sean Murphy. There's another guy at number 9 named Matt Chapman.
Mm-hmm.
There's Marcell Ozuna, Corey Seager. Those are Ronald Acuna Jr., Aaron Judge. Those are the only guys above him. And below him is Bryce Harper, Pete Alonso, Giancarlo Stanton, and guys like that. So again, you're going to see some crushed baseballs this year. We thought we were going to have that with Jock Peterson. We got a little bit. He hit some towering home runs. He hit some shots, and he hit the ball hard. But we're talking about an athlete at the plate, and I stress an athlete at the plate. Really not many other places, but Jorge Soler is a hitter, a power hitter. So I think somebody did an overlay, and I can't give them credit because I don't know who it was, and I apologize. But somebody did an overlay of the 36 home runs last year by Jorge Soler, and they overlaid it over Oracle Park. And I think only one of them would not have made it out of Oracle Park, and everybody's worried about, he hit 36 home runs last year. He's going to come to Oracle and hit 25. No, this guy hits it out of the park. Doesn't matter which park it was. I think there was another one where the year he hit 26 home runs, if he would have played that year in Oracle Park, he would have hit 35 home runs. So he would have actually gained home runs by playing at Oracle Park, because when you look at center field is only 391. That's one of the shortest center fields in all of baseball because of the bullpens that they put out there. So so it's going to be exciting. We finally have some right-handed real power that we haven't seen in a long time. No offense to Wilmer. We love Wilmer. Wilmer's got his place in our heart.
Yeah, Wilmer's 20. Wilmer's a
Yeah.
legit 18 to 20, and he's going to hit
Absolutely.
for a high average.
And he's not going to hit towering home runs, and he's not going to hit balls to the back of the bleachers like you're going to see Jorge Soler do. So it's super exciting move. I love it.
The comparison I've heard, it may have been Grant Brisbee. I heard right-handed Kyle Schwarber.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle Schwarber is somebody who we were like, man, it would, it'd be awesome to have someone like him on the team. And you say that even though he hits in the, low 200s, he's not a high average guy, but it's just the idea that when you need a jack, like there's a guy who's gonna possibly give it to you, and they have that with Soler now. Do you? Again, I hate to hit on the speed thing, but as baseball gets faster, I know they think, we have some younger players who may be able to add some speed, but still they're so slow. Jung-Hoo Lee will he'll help, but he's not a base stealer necessarily. He's an athlete and he's a young guy, but they are absolutely not adding any sort of team speed whatsoever.
No, this team has to get faster. If they're not going to get faster, they need to add a Matt Chapman who could possibly hit you 20 to 30 home runs as well. It depends. He was over in Toronto. Things kind of started falling off, but he hit. What did he have last year? 50-something doubles?
Mm-hmm.
So he's still got the gap power, and he still has power. That could translate to AT&T again or AT&T Oracle. As a right-handed hitter, that could translate into our park. It is hard to hit home runs to left center, but still, if you're hitting 58 doubles or 50-plus doubles. So yeah, if you're not going to get faster, you've got to get stronger, right? I mean, that's pretty much how it goes. So adding a Chapman, adding a Bellinger, those types of guys. Or if you're not going to get faster, and you're going to have to manufacture runs with a couple guys here and there that can run into one, and then adding a 30-plus, 40-plus home run guy like Soler, you've got to have the pitching. And the Giants right now are going to kind of rely on Logan Webb and Kyle Harrison, and then a bunch of young guys, and Jordan Hicks, an experimental starting pitcher, until Ray and Cobb can come back. And Cobb, it almost sounds like from the notes today that he may not even hit the 60-day IL, which we thought he was going to do today. They did put Ray on the 60-day IL, obviously, for the Tommy John. But they have not put Cobb, and his goal, and he's trying to work with everybody else to get that goal, is to face live pitching by the end of spring training, which at that point you could probably go 15-day IL once the season starts, and just kind of have to fill in for him for a couple of starts. And he may be back a lot earlier than was first expected. So kind of see how that goes.
So pitchers and catchers reported today, I believe, but I thought tomorrow was actually the day that they were supposed to report. So I was really confused when I started to see all the Baggerly and Pavlovic content. And I was like, wait, I thought this was the 15th. And maybe technically the date is still the 15th, but guys are just coming in early. I'm not exactly sure how it's working, but it's kind of cool seeing baseball content in your social media feeds again. You sent me a video of a Jung-Hoo Lee hitting batting practice, and like to hear that sound, the bat, the wooden bat to ball sound. And he's going to be, I think, if you're thinking about like, what is the reason you pay attention to spring training, because baseball is back, but what is one of the main reasons? You want to see him, right? You want to see that first spring training game that they show on NBC Sports Bay Area. It's like, okay, I'm watching for the first 3 innings because I want to see him. I want to see, what does he look like? How does he walk up to the plate? How does he hold his hands? These are things that we don't really know, and we want to get acclimated with this dude pretty quickly.
Right, exactly. And the fact that he is going to be the leadoff hitter, super exciting because, like I had told, I tweeted with Susan Slusser yesterday and today, and so she put out the article, and I said this gets me super excited because as an old school baseball guy, to have a leadoff hitter who slaps and has some speed and can get on base, and can take some pitches, see some pitches, to kind of go back to that old school where it was like, for the last few years, 1 through 9, just a big guy who can hit home runs. If he strikes out, he strikes out. So to have that again, I mean, no offense to Brandon Belt, but we saw Brandon Belt lead off quite a few times, and I don't think I care to see that anymore.
Brandon Belt's still without a team, by the way.
Still without a team.
He's
Same with
not on the team.
both Brandon
I know.
Crawford as well.
You know what's funny is Brandon Crawford's not on any of these lists of these free agents who are without teams. Like, I think people just assume he's retired, and he has not said that he's retired yet.
No, and he's pretty much said, I'm kind of looking to see if there's the right situation before I make any kind of decisions. Some news out of camp today is that he did hand over DJ duties to Logan Webb.
Oh,
but
wow.
he said, I'm going to hand you the DJ duties, but you have to play my playlist. So is that really? I mean, that's that's just
Logan Webb, notorious in my. Now I love him for the fact that he's the best starting pitcher the Giants have had in quite a few years, since Mad Bum, and maybe the one Cueto season where he was a stud. But this dude, man, not only is he a Sacramento Kings fan, he is a Raiders fan.
I know, man.
So when the Chiefs and the Niners were the Super Bowl matchup, he tweeted like, worst Super Bowl ever.
Oh, no.
No, but we still love him. He can root for whoever he wants to root for. I am not one of those fans like the Warriors have a young player who's he actually went to school at Santa Clara, but that was his second school. He actually left the other school before going to Santa Clara. So he's actually from the Milwaukee area. And people were a little bothered because, he's not like a 49ers fan. Like, he's not from here.
No.
Brandon Pajemski, by the way, is who I'm talking about.
That's the thing that always frustrates me is like when Jared Goff went to the Rams and everybody gave him garbage because during a press conference he was wearing a Giants hat. Or not even a press conference. It was like after, I don't know, they caught him walking out of somewhere at the facilities and he was wearing a Giants hat. And so everybody made him switch to wearing Dodgers gear and Dodgers hat and said, you're in LA now. You have to root for the Dodgers. No, man, show your roots. You got to show your roots.
I mean, maybe Pats fans were frustrated when Brady wore Giants hats. I don't know. Were they mad if he wasn't wearing a Red Sox hat?
I don't know, but I saw him wearing a Red Sox hat in a photo yesterday. So I think he's kind of
both. He could be both.
But again, when you then live in Boston for 20 plus years, and then all this, I mean, you're gonna become a Red Sox fan because you're gonna start to know the organization, the coaches, the ownership, the players. It's different. But when these young guys come to a team for the first time, let them figure it out on their own, man.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we're gonna do a shorter show today. We're shooting for about 30 minutes. This was like we said, it's a little bit of a bonus show because there was just nothing to talk about Monday, so we're going to save it for next week. But during this bonus show, this little half an hour show, a couple of other pieces of news that came out of today, which is one of them is something that I think we knew was coming, though we didn't know it was coming now. Reggie Crawford is no longer a two-way player. He is solely going to pitch, and he is invited to spring training, but I think he's actually they're withholding him for like 2 or 3 weeks. He's got some lat injury or something going on, so I don't even think he's going to throw.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. He's, I'd read something today too, and he's totally fine with this. What did he get? 17 at bats last year. But he did come off of an injury and he had something like 19 innings pitched and 30 plus strikeouts and a 2.84 ERA. So, and he throws hard, upper 90s. So a guy like that, you got to kind of just let him dial it into just being a pitcher. He could be super valuable. They're saying there's a chance he could even start in AA, start the season in AA, but it depends with the injury now. Kind of see how that goes. But, the Giants have a stable of just really intriguing young pitchers and like, Mason Black and Reggie Crawford and Wizen Hunt and all these guys. So, and then of course you've got Beck and Wynn, who are going to probably be in the Giants rotation. And that's what I'm excited to see. I want to see if Bob Melvin actually announces a rotation. I know that's like a foreign word for us Giants fans like the last 5 years, but to have an actual rotation would get me super excited because I always love looking ahead. And we used to do that when we were kids too. You start looking at matchups. You go, well, who's gonna, who's Keaton Wynn going to face up against, in a couple of days here.
You don't like seeing the TBA.
No. and it's not going to go away. I mean, I hope it kind of does, but you're still going to see plenty of, because again, Dave Roberts is going to do it. Padres' new manager is going to do it. There's going to be TBA versus TBA.
Yeah.
In all three matchups of a series going into it.
I mean, the Dodgers are probably going to run out a 6-man rotation this year.
They're going to have to.
Because of Yamamoto, who's not used to throwing every 5 days.
Yeah, and then when Shohei comes back the following season, Shohei was used to going 6 or 7 days.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a 6-man rotation.
Yeah, and then if you have a guy who's like, are you ready after 5 days? No. Okay, are you ready after 6 days? No. Are you ready after 7 days? Yes. Then you have to have guys who are willing to switch themselves. And so there will probably be some Junis type folks in that rotation. And I mean, that's been their poison anyways.
Yeah.
Once they get to the playoffs as their arms are all dead. So they'll have to figure that one out.
Yeah, exactly. And now that's going to be the other question too. So, if the Dodgers get to the playoffs, let's just say if, we all know, but if they get to the playoffs, then how are they going to run a rotation that way? When you've got, Yamamoto, who's used to going every 6th day, and the next season when Shohei's used to going every 6th or 7th day, then when you're in a 3 of 5 series and you need somebody to go on that game 5 with just 3 days rest, how's that going to play out? So that's going to be interesting to see how that works, because honestly, we haven't seen Shohei in the playoffs. So we don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, the closest we saw him was in the WBC, where he did close that game out against Mike Trout.
Yeah, and those guys, and that was early in the season. So you're talking February, March. So you're not even seeing them go their full 80 to 100 pitches anyways. They're only throwing 40 to 50 pitches. So they're 2 and 3 innings and done. They can come back a couple days later and throw another 30, 40 pitches, because that's their throw day, their rest day. So it'll be interesting. But I think the Giants are set up with a lot of young pitching where they could do something like that if they needed to. If they needed to give some of their younger guys a rest, I mean, they've got a lot of great young pitching on the 40-man roster. And as you saw in the non-roster invitees as well, there are tons of guys not on the 40-man, also tons of young pitchers on the not on the 40-man yet that could still make an impact this season. So
talk about the guy that you were telling me about. Amir Garrett is his name.
Yeah, so Amir Garrett's been around for a while. He pitched for the Reds. He pitched for the Royals. Guy throws hard, upper 90s. I think he hits 100 on the gun. But holy moly, if you want to see this guy, if you like MMA and you like boxing and you like WWE heels, go to YouTube and look up Amir Garrett fight. And you're going to probably find like 4 or 5 different games where he's yelling at the opposing dugout, gesturing to them after strikeouts. I mean, he's a fiery dude. So it's going to be.
Does he blow snot rockets while he's on the mound as well?
I don't even know. Probably towards the opposing dugouts, but he's a lefty, and the Giants are sorely lacking in the lefty reliever department. So he threw today, actually, first day of camp. He was signed to a minor league deal, so he would have to get onto the 40-man, and if he does make the team out of camp. But there's going to be it's spring, and it's a long spring. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be tweaks. There's going to be little things here and there. So coming out of camp, you're going to find somebody go on the 60-man, or you're going to find somebody have to get passed through waivers or something like that. So Amir Garrett could really make a dent in some other relievers' plans during the spring and end up on the Giants roster.
Davis wants to know if he and Javi Baez had a showdown.
I don't remember if Javi Baez was involved, but I absolutely wouldn't doubt it, because Javi Baez is the same type of guy. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to go back and look, but I just remember a couple of highlights a few years back. Every time you turned around, Amir Garrett was yelling at somebody. I thought he was going to, I think the Reds used him as a closer for a little bit too, and he did okay. But his attitude is like over the top. So I'm kind of curious to see how the Giants will handle that if things start to get a little wacky with him.
Giants also traded for a utility player, Otto Lopez. And I think it was just a cash. They may have just sent some cash the way to the Blue Jays. And, in the mix of backup spots, infield spots in today's baseball, you want folks who can play multiple positions. So that is I'm sure that is where Otto Lopez is going to fit in. And I did see that he has one more option. So he does not have to make the team out of camp. They can send him back down.
That's good. Yeah, and Davis just sent in our Discord. He just popped in the YouTube video. I'm sure that's probably Baez and Garrett. So that's if you're on our Discord, check that out, because it's fantastic. So thank you, Davis, for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Davis and I are chatting. He's restarted his podcast. We're figuring out a time for me to be able to jump on his thing.
Sweet, man. Excellent.
All right. So before we shut this down, I did want to mention, I know you're decaffing tonight because this is Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I'm saving it for later.
And, you're going to have a drink with your beloved significant other. And I know you and the fam got some pizza and such going on.
Yeah.
I have my Finnish long drink. So nothing
Nice.
too crazy. I was thinking about it because you turned me on to this drinking app, and it allows us to kind of be mindful about, the alcohol intake and kind of figuring out. And my numbers are so low in these last couple of weeks. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like I haven't had more than one drink in the last week or whatever. And so I was like, well, I'm going to have this drink for this show. And then do I have another drink later, like while I'm watching Warriors Clippers? So I have to figure that out, because the only thing about drinking later in the night for me is that it kind of messes up the sleep a little bit.
Yeah.
If you have a drink earlier in the day, like right now, I should be okay. But yeah, if I have a drink like that, when everyone goes to bed, it's like 8:30 or 9, and I'm watching the basketball game, then I'm really risking kind of like interrupted deep sleep or inability to get into deep sleep. But that is I'm thinking about it, because the whole house is going to shut down at about 9 o'clock, and I'm going to be the only one awake, and I'll be watching the basketball game. But before we get out of here, you and your wife have been married for so long, and you guys dated back in the day in college, like
back in the 90s, Garrett.
Like what is the move for the couple who has been married for many years, has a family, has teenage kids? Like, what is the move for Valentine's Day? Like, did you send flowers, or was she like, no, we got to save money? Like, what was the whole spiel today about?
Yeah, so we used to, back before the kids, yeah, pick her up a little something. She likes chocolate covered cherries are
Mm.
like her go-to. So I would just find those and grab those for her. Or even like the chocolate covered like cherry cordials and stuff too. But now, yeah, it's gotten to the point now where things are so busy. We have two teenagers, one's driving. So the driving teenager, the 17-year-old, she calls me while I'm coming back from the dentist today, and she goes, "Hey, I'm going to swing by Dutch Brothers. I got to pick up some coffee. Do you want any?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll grab, whatever." And she said, "Then I'm going to swing by the store. Should we get mom flowers?" I go, "Yes, but stay in like the $15 range because it's Valentine's Day and everything's jacked up." So
Uh-huh.
she brought home a nice flower arrangement. So that's the move: is you have a kid who can drive,
There you go.
and you have them pick up stuff for you. But yeah, I mean, Denise and I go on so many like solo vacations,
Yes.
together without the kids
You
now.
guys are really good about that, which is
Yeah, we
amazing.
try to as much as possible. Try to get a night out because the kids, they can stay home by themselves. So if we ever feel like, hey, we need to have a night out and not talk about work or
That's the
teenage
move.
stuff,
That's the move.
we go out, have a drink, sit down, relax, laugh, have a good time. So we pretty much we try to make Valentine's Day like once or twice a month anyways. So when
Mhm.
Valentine's Day rolls around, so what we're doing tonight, and we've been doing for 20 plus years, is we take pizza dough from Trader Joe's and we shape it into a heart with the kids, throw everything we want on it. And then tonight we're watching, I don't know if you remember a classic, Down with Love, which
Mm.
was Renee Zellweger and Obi-Wan Kenobi. What's
Oh,
his name?
no way.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor.
So those two, and it was kind of a spoof of 60s romantic comedies. It came out in like 2001 or 2002, but we have it on DVD. We liked it so much we bought it years ago. So we're going to watch that with the kids tonight. Try to pick something, something fun, upbeat, romantic comedy, and so that's the move with the kids. Yeah.
Yeah, when my boys were younger, I would always have something for them for Valentine's
Mm.
Day. And so having a stepdaughter who is still, a youngster, it was kind of fun because I was like, okay, what's like a little tchotchke or something that I could get her? And so I got her some like nighttime slippers with
Oh, nice.
like some bunny slippers or whatever. But at a coworker, because I was actually in the office yesterday for the first time in a few weeks, and a coworker who she actually lives in the Midwest, I believe. And so she was only this is like the second time I've ever seen her in the office in 2 years. And so she had some Taylor Swift heart-shaped Valentine's Day cookies. They were just heart-shaped cookies with frosting and then like Taylor Swift songs written out on the
Oh,
cookie.
that's cool.
So she's like, is your stepdaughter a Taylor Swift fan? And I was like, of course. And she's like, okay, well, I have some cookies for her. And so this morning, I take Ada to school in the morning when she's with us, and wake up. She's getting ready for school, and I was like, okay, I have a gift for you. So I give her the slippers, and she's like, these are going to be too big for me. No, I think they'll fit. They'll be fine. And then I give her the cookies, and it was like, OMG. This is the most fantastic thing anyone has ever given me in my life. So the cookies were a giant hit.
Yeah, you just slap Taylor Swift on anything, and it's a huge hit. Yeah, Denise had picked up. I forgot. Denise had picked up for the girls from Trader Joe's yesterday because we live in Nevada, so it's you don't really do flowers that much and that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
she got them a couple little cactus.
Yeah, there you go.
So, it's the desert, so they have.
And
Some
then Crystal and I have only been married 3.5 years. But she was she's also all about that frugal life, especially after Christmas. And I was like, I just can't, like, I have to send you something to work. And so I did send her some flowers.
nice.
But we love coffee mugs. So for like every birthday or Christmas or Valentine's Day kind of event, we usually get each other a coffee mug. So we both exchanged
Nice.
coffee mugs this morning as well.
That's cool.
So, yeah, man, all of you Valentine's Day lovebirds, hopefully folks have something going on tonight and if you are riding solo, just consider yourself smart because you should pair up after Valentine's Day. You
Exactly.
don't have to
Break up the day before, get back together the day after, and it's all good.
But so you and I will be back on Monday. We'll have much
Yeah.
more to talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
because we'll have
Tons.
the full boat of them being back in camp, and we'll have some hopefully some more news. I would like to see another signing. That would be nice
Well,
to talk about.
and we're only 10 days away from our first game of the
Yeah,
spring.
there you go.
So here we are.
And I just got word that I'm going to a game so in addition to the 2 games I'm going with to you, a friend of mine who has season tickets, she said that she wanted to take me to May 14th, which is a Tuesday night,
Nice.
against the Dirty Dodgers.
Oh, there you go.
And
That'll
you know
be
what?
fun, man.
You know what's crazy is I've never seen Shohei in person, so that'll be my first chance. Then I can kind of boo him and be mad at him.
Yes.
And just, for taking us for a ride, even though we didn't really think he was coming.
And maybe Yamamoto's on the mound. You can the place is going to be rocking. It's going to be giving both those guys an earful. So.
Yeah, totally. All right, man. Good job by you coming on a Wednesday.
Hey,
on
man.
Valentine's Day. That shows you.
I like Wednesdays. I'm more awake, I think, than I am on Mondays.
Well, I mean, think about this. Like, how dedicated are we? Like, episode 186. We've almost been doing this thing for, what is that? Over 3 years now.
We started
nuts.
right before the pandemic season started.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Crazy. So, we're dedicated, but we will be back on Monday. So, for Brad, I am Double G. See you when we see you. Peace out.
Peace.